All right, so there's been a bunch of reporting recently about how the Democrats are propping up the more extremist Republican candidates, and they're doing it because they believe, hey, these people are easier to beat. So it gives us a better chance at success if we have the worst candidates on the other side win their respective primaries. Well, Mediaite has this video now on this topic. Pelosi defends Democratic Party boosting Trump loyalist Republican candidates. So let's watch some of this and I'll react to it.
You've repeatedly said that you want Republicans to take back their party. You said in a quote, "Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, not a cult." How does that square with your party now spending money to boost election-denying candidates in Republican primaries, including against House Republicans who voted to impeach President Trump?
Okay, now, before she answers, let me just say, there is no good answer to that, because she was caught in a performative contradiction. You can't say, I want a big, strong Republican Party, which what she means by that is, we want Republicans who are not in favor of, like, casually overthrowing the results of a Democratic election. That's what she means by that. Okay, well, you can't say that and then turn around and have Democratic money prop up those exact candidates, because that is a performative contradiction. If you want a big, strong Republican Party, what that means is you want the less extreme candidates to win their primaries. So, but then why are you propping up the more extremist candidates? So she's just caught here. She's caught.
Said that we need a strong Republican Party, not a cult of personality. That didn't mean we shouldn't have
You're propping up the cultish candidates.
a strong Democratic Party as well. And the political decisions that are made out there are made in furtherance of our winning the election because we...
Do you understand what she just said? Well, we need a strong Democratic Party too, and this helps us win the election. But why is your definition of a strong Democratic Party is like, let's get through whatever Democrats we have now, as opposed to a strong Democratic Party would be like FDR's Democratic Party, where they actually stood for something and believed in something and fought for social democracy and fought for an economic bill of rights and fought for Social Security and other good programs. So the way she views a strong Democratic Party is like, let's rig it by getting more beatable candidates on the other side. And then whoever we have in position now on the Democratic side is good enough. But you guys are not strong. You're not strong. Okay, who runs Congress right now? Democrats. Right now, the approval rating in Congress is 16%. Does that sound like a strong Democratic Party to you? Does that sound like a strong Democratic Party? Now, look, it's true. Democrats have surged in the midterm polling, but there are very specific reasons for that, and we'll talk about them in a minute, and she might even talk about some of them.
I think the contrast between Democrats and Republicans as they are now is so drastic that we have to win. And I feel confident win. I just see, what's that called? The 6 points, 44 to, what's it called, the poll?
Oh, is it over? Did they cut it off there?
You ever wondered what actors and actresses do when they have to get in shape really fast for a movie? Because I can promise you.
I guess they cut her off there. Anyway, the reason why Democrats have surged in the midterm polling is because, you know, the Supreme Court, a right-wing Supreme Court, overturned Roe versus Wade. That's very extreme. And then you have the January 6th hearings, which are exposing a lot of extremism on that side. There's no doubt about that. And then you also have Republicans who just openly voted against the right to contraception and gay marriage. 195 against the right to contraception, 157 of them against gay marriage. So it's like the self-inflicted wounds on the Republican side. But Pelosi says, I want a strong Democratic Party. She just means any old Democrat, but let's make the Republicans look much worse by comparison because we want the extremist candidates to win, and that's good enough. No. In a world that made sense, what would happen is the more reasonable Republicans would win their primaries. And then on the Democratic side, you guys would actually stand for something instead of we're not them. You guys would actually fight for, you know, a higher minimum wage and universal health care and re-regulating Wall Street and ending the wars and all the good things. You know, unionization, try to pass bills to incentivize and facilitate more unionization so workers get more representation. But no, they're taking the shortcut, which again is contradictory to things she said previously about how we want a big, strong Republican Party. We want a Republican Party that's more moderate, basically. Oh, Well, then why are you propping up the extremists? It's all so you think you give yourself a better chance at winning. And that leads to the final point, which is, look, in many instances, she might be right that the more extremist the candidate on the right, the better chance a Democrat has of winning. There probably is some truth to that in many instances, but it ain't going to be 100%, dog. There are going to be plenty of extremist Republican candidates who end up winning. And then Lord only knows what those super extreme Republican candidates win. Lord only knows what they'll do when they win. So what I would say to Nancy Pelosi is, if you think the threat is as extreme as you say, you cannot boost them up with money. Because we saw this once before, didn't we? It was called the Pied Piper strategy under Hillary Clinton. They actively boosted Trump because they thought he was the most beatable, and then it turned out he wasn't the most beatable. So even if it's only 5 Republicans, then it's going to be more than that, but even if it's only 5 extremist Republicans who end up beating Democrats, well, then you're going to have to look in the mirror because you're at least partially to blame for those candidates winning if you're literally propping them up with money, which is what's happening. So it's gross. Politics is gross, and this is a great example of it. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.